wanted to start talking about the ark again. That's how we ended up, and there's a lot in this. We can't just leave it where it is. And the reason I'm going to go a little deeper into this now, other than the other teachings we have, just breaking down the verses, is that I had a dream last night, and today is 12/31/2020, and I was up around 2ish a.m., and I got woken up with the Spirit telling me to revisit one of the verses that we kind of unveiled yesterday. But so we're gonna just come around to it and why. And so it was kind of like I didn't think, like, why should I go to that one? It was just like, and I couldn't leave it alone, and it pulled me right out of my sleep, and it was just kind of a random verse for me. And so I said, okay, so I spent all morning working on it, and it's like, oh, now I see why. Because it is, as everything is, to do with love. And this is what we're in right now, the season of love. So now we can really unfold some scriptures and see what was really transacting and what message was really being, what frequency was being released, because this is all about love. So you have 8392 up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we have the Tav Bet Aleph, and we see that that's a...
Tav Bet Aleph or Hey.
I'm sorry, Hey, sorry. Tav Bet Hey. And so we see that love is the measure of revelation. What that's saying? But in the occurrences that we're looking at, it's going to be Tav Bet Tav, but that's fine. This is still the building pattern. It's the revelation of the building pattern is the arc of love. The measurement of height and width, breadth and depth, mother and father is the template of love.
Right. And again, for some people, if they haven't seen it before, generally the hay from the root has been removed because we haven't been in the place where we could actually receive the Father's teaching, which is all about the fullness of building unconditional love.
Right.
And now this is coming full force now because of switching over into the age of Aquarius.
Right.
Like the door has been opened for this now.
Yeah. Yeah. So
light and love. And these are called the letters of light.
Yeah.
So we're teaching about love through the letters of light.
So I want to go to 1326 to see how it morphs, because from the beginning we knew the end, from the end we know the beginning, and that's exactly what's going on right now. And it should vibrate in the words in themselves.
Yeah.
So go please to 1326.
Yep. Mm-hmm. The end.
And so now.
And you've been working on sharing with us Genesis 1:1. In the beginning, choose.
Right.
And now we're at the end.
The end is revealing the beginning, and that's the way it should be, and that's exactly what our message is about, because in the beginning, love was given. And it was the measure and the template of love. Just unfortunately, I got mishandled, and we lost sight of the Bet Tav, which this is. The Bet Tav, the revelation of the Bet Tav is the building pattern to build the house, or the temple in the revelation of love, or the breath of love, however you want to translate that.
The exhale of love.
Well,
which is really us breathing out this revelation.
Well, yeah, and this is going to really shed light on the inhalation and the exhalation, expansion and contraction, because everything's micro, right? So in our micro, breathing inwardly, inhalation, and then breathing out, exhalation outwardly. But yet it's saying you are still a temple of love. And this is how you breathe in and out. And we're going to see why I'm saying that in a second.
Well, and that's interesting because the universe does that too.
Right.
Through contraction and expansion, it does the same thing. So the universe is, quote unquote, breathing, which is the macro.
That's exactly why when we sent out 222, our first template, when we started, initiate this little new platform that we're releasing love from, it was based on law of love, which is the law of contraction and expansion.
Yep.
On the macro micro, because it's really 0 point, but it's even bigger than that. It's everything.
Right, so, and even into the finest, there's something called cell respiration.
Right.
So we're talking into the core of every atom of our being.
It goes into the full potentiality of micro and the full potentiality of macro, and then there's macro and micros all in between that of fractals.
Yep.
Depending on where you are, because everything in that is still fractals of macro and micro. It's how we see, depending on where each individual is. So it's personal. So we see the beginning and the end. We see the ark being built. We see now the language of the end, and we've already did this. And I wanted to look at that word because that is desolation is in that word. Right? You see that? It's near the end.
Yep.
Batah.
Yep, desolation.
Okay. And that's from 1327, and that means, and that's exactly why we're going here. But before we go there, please go to 1325.
Yep.
Now we have a measure, so we know that
The measure of the Bet Tov.
the measure of the Bet Tov.
Building love.
Right, and then that actually slides into 1324. Did you go 1324?
No, but I can.
That's fine.
That's okay. I can slip over there very quickly. It's just one down. Yep, a Hebrew measure.
And they're both from this word here. It's from Batah, and you can go to 1327.
A precipice.
And if you can see, it's the same spelling as ark, and it's the same spelling as end.
Right, and desolation. It's all Bet Tov He.
All Bet Tov He.
All Bet Tov He.
So again, we're looking at, again, a desolation isn't necessarily a bad thing. We need to describe what desolation is. And so now we have this precipice word that's in here, and this is what woke me up in the night. Spirit said, go, and there's only one occurrence of this, and it's in Isaiah 7:19.
You want me to pull that up?
You can pull it up really quick, and not don't bother, because we're gonna.
Okay.
But this is why we're going to what we're going to. This is, I believe we're in the precipice right now of the beginning and the end.
Oh, this is the word we were looking at building our inheritance, which is us being able to give the power, means, and direction of the one love.
Yeah, but that's
just connecting it, because that's what we were talking about too.
Yeah, and so this was all about building the ark, and I'm just breaking it down. Like I said, I was going to blow by this, and this was just going to be a teaching for another day. I wasn't really going to focus on it, but like I said, when Spirit gets me up, I'm going to be obedient to what it's like. It needs to come in front of everything. That's what the Spirit said right now. And okay, because I wanted to go to the garden and explain why the theft in the garden, but this is now where we need to be. So before I can do this any justice, when we're looking at the ark, the first occurrence of the ark, to build the ark, is in Genesis 6:14.
I'm there.
So we're going to break this down really quick. Because the ark that's why I brought up those other words first, is that we can see that through the Father's frequency, and Mother's really, is Mother showing us how to build it. Father is already established, and that's the met measure. That would be the equivalent of if you're looking at blueprints, and in the building process, that Mother would be the blueprints of the building, and then Father would be completion. And I don't know why they even call buildings, because when they're completed, they should be called builts, right? Because it's the full of completion, and that's what this language is saying. It's no longer a process. It has fully become the intention of the blueprint. You no longer need the blueprint, because you now are resonating as the completed build.
Exactly.
And so in this language, and we're not going to go too deep into it. I just need to really use this as a stepping stone, because this is all about steps. So let's go look at the first word, make.
Asa, yep. Mm-hmm. And this one, just to say, it shows the hay is there.
Right.
Right? This word, as written, doesn't have the hay removed like most of the time you see it. It is there.
So make for yourself the breath, right? Make the knowing of being consumed is the breath, or the eye that is able to, the intimate knowing. And now this is a sheen with a dagesh on the left-hand side.
So this is telling us that make through the Father's teaching.
Right. This is an established. This is one
that's already established in the Golden Rule.
Right.
Like you've already done that part.
Yeah, you've already been weaned. You've already been ripened.
You've been weaned off the milk, which is Mother's teaching of conditional love.
Yes, you're no longer immature. You've now matured because you've been stripped bare of, and you're actively seeking. This is what most people are on our channel. They're like, I'm looking for something. Because no one on our channel, if they're still in any form of rebellion, they won't be looking at our channel.
I agree.
These
100%.
are people, Carrie shares amazing stuff about people that listen to our stuff, and these are people that are hungry. They're looking for, trying to connect with something that's greater, the greater potential, other than the lesser narrative of fear, doubt, confusion, anxiety,
right,
and all this negative that's being projected on us right now.
The lower frequency that holds us back.
So love is the greater frequency, and it's a frequency, it's a word, and it's a frequency. We've already broken that down. We're going to try to define that. So make for yourself this. This is yourself.
Yeah, and look at that. No Strong's Hebrew.
Uh-uh.
So it's a lamed, an instructing teacher of light, kaf pei. Kaf is spelled kaf pei. So you're going to grab a hold of the pei, the mouth that brings forth revelation through the letters of light, while you are in the material world. And because this is fallen, if you take a look at this as a cup, it's telling us, empty your cup.
Right.
So that you can grasp a hold of this greater revelation through the Father's teaching.
In these first three words, really it's saying, make. So really, what it's saying is you've already made. You've made this. You are Ayin, Sheen, Father, consumed one, breathing in the revelation as the revelation. This is yourself. Really, you're looking into a mirror right now. I'm on a different screen than Carrie, but we're on different computers. But this is a mere reflection of who we should be. So we should see residents staring back at us, going like, "Can you see yourself here?" And this is one that is now intimately knows themselves through the consuming fire, because they've already walked through Mother's fire.
Yep.
Now they're consumed in Father's fire,
yep.
And they are the living, breathing revelation as the teachers of point, go, and direct. So you're able to grasp and teach those in the earth how to grasp this concept of how to build.
And how powerful it is, but you have to empty your cup in order to be filled with this revelation.
Right.
Because really this is undoing. It's like it gets rid of all the stuff that has bound us that we didn't even know that we were being bound by.
Right. And that's the painstaking work, and that's the bitter cup. Mother's is the bitter cup that's no one really likes to do. It's like making your bed, right? Keeping the house clean. That's the bitter cup of being, and it's also everything to do with the flesh suit, because the sweet part of this is that we're remembering that we're light. That's the sweet part, the essence of it.
Right.
But the bitter is everything to do with the flesh is bitter because it's a lesser reality for us, but yet we're going through the bitter experience.
Well, and like that is that it's where we're learning to be responsible for ourselves. Like It doesn't matter what somebody else is doing to us, it's how we respond to it and our choices. And sometimes we need to feel justified because of their action towards us, to reciprocate in kind like they did. And that's why it's bitter, because it's like, gosh, all these people are walking around not even in the golden rule.
It's everything to do with anything that is a wrestle. There's an adversary component that is a wrestle to your nature. Until it is found center, that is the bitter.
Yeah.
When you find center, you're going to realize it's all an experience. Other people's really their perspective doesn't necessarily, you can see it for what it is, but you maintain center, and it doesn't pull you out of your center. It just, they may be lesser, and they may be in a higher perspective. Regardless, they don't pull you out of where you are. You can see it for what it is, and then you can discard or draw in what is necessary for a greater perspective.
Yeah.
So now make for yourself ark, tav bet tav. What is that saying in that one word? It's saying, make for yourself, in the reflection of this mirror, love is built as love. Love equals love. Love is the temp. However you want to say that, I like love equals love. Love equates to love, or the frequency of intention of love is the frequency of love. And that is calibration. And I don't need to go into, well, what's love? He's just saying love. But I already wrote a document that is the law of expansion and contraction of macro, micro, cosmic.
I'll put a link so they can watch it. If they don't know what that definition is, they can go and watch that video.
Love is really cosmic friction. It's not really friction, but it's what produces all power, because that's what 0 point is. 0 point is cosmic friction.
Right.
In a nutshell. So this is an ark now. This is one that's completed, and they're made of ayin, zadi, yod. And that's connected to the gophers. That conjunctive dash there says it's connected to the next word, and that would be the gopher wood. And there's only one occurrence of that, and that's in this verse. So these trees, these no desire is what it is, because the tree is really kind of masked a little bit. This would be the tree of life. Know the tree of life. And this is ram, pillar, priest, anything tall standing, anything of elship, anything of authority. This is very lofty concept in that one word right there.
So this would like kun with the cough, and room.
Yes.
Firmly establish, erect, standing.
The first occurrence of this word is in Genesis 1:1:1, and it's the first fruit.
Do you want me to pull that up?
You can if you want to. I'm just making sure that we can take it back to a root, so it's not just wandering in space. Like
fruit bearing.
Right? So now, and this is all about, because even the next word, gopher, is peresh. Par.
Right.
So make for yourself a tree of par. A tree of fruit.
Tree that bears fruit.
Tree that bears fruit.
Yeah.
And then when you look at the gimel before the gopher, it's that has weaned and ripened and matured. This is the mature fruit.
And then the gimel is the gathering.
So when we can say this again, we can back it up.
So this is the gathering of the teachers of light that bear fruit.
So you are knowing of Father. You are the living, breathing revelation. You yourself are a teacher grasping this, and because of that, you reach the world so they can grasp too. You are love that equates as love. You are all-knowing as the tree. You are the desired vision.
That gives.
Generously gives,
yeah.
and gently receives.
Right.
Absolutely. And that works both ways.
Yep.
So that's gopher. So now you're the face. Now you're the fruit of, so we're knowing what the fruit is and what the first fruits are. And I just think it's interesting. Right? First occurrence in Genesis 1:1:1. And love is the first occurrence of love is in 2:2:2. But this is how you build it. Mother is the 1:1:1, Father is the 2:2:2, because it's the full equation of love.
But it would make sense that the fruit would have to be given first because the fruit has seed. Seed equates to the noon, right?
Yeah.
And that is what we do in the activity of life, that in order for us to bear fruit. I mean, it's like a seed has to be planted in the ground, which then is the noon of what we do in the activity of life in order for us to bear fruit.
Yeah.
It's like it's the cycle of life.
It's the cycle of life, and it's just a nurturing process. And by definition, it's called a husbandman. They are the tillers of the earth. They are the ones that nurture. They bear the burden of turning over and harvesting, and they're the caretakers of husbandry, of animals, and farming and agriculture. This whole language is an agriculture language of nurturing and growing and stewarding and maturity and lovely and being in harmony. Now the world we're in the end right now because we've lost sight of that harmony right now, that the world is not producing what it needs to produce in the earth as a representation of us or what we're growing. So now we have rooms. So now the ark is of wood, of gopher, and then it says rooms. Rooms make. But rooms really breaks down to nest, or really to build. It just really means it's a compress yourself, raise yourself in this. Or actually, this one already is raised, so this one is compressed. He has risen himself. That's what the noon is now up. So he's risen himself
on the spiritual path.
Right, in the spiritual walk, he has become the power, the means, and direction, the vision, living. Of what is sealed, or the sealed works of Father, and he is sealed in this revelation. And
it's the two that have become one, because it's a noon that has the dagesh. So it's two noons that have been made one.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So the twin teachings that were seamlessly divided, now fully connected and sewn back together as one.
Yeah. Everything is about the twins becoming one. Everything, like I said, there's so many redundancies that we could say over and over and over again. But and if we go into this word 7064, it actually it connects to 7077, and that's why you got to nest, to build, and it's a kuf noon noon.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I don't believe in coincidences, so completion 777 is right.
Well, that's divine spiritual perfection.
Right. So, and I don't care if it's Strong's or not. The Spirit has got me weaving in and out of here, and I see so many amazing things that. Yeah. I don't care who thinks they would have put the numbers together. Ultimately, Father, Source, Creator did it.
Yep. If you would have the eyes to see it.
On my micro, yep. I'm sorry. It works through and through for me. So that keeps me on a nice tight rope when I see that. I don't have to think, maybe not. No, it is. So now we have make. So now these rooms, so make again. Same word as the first one.
But now we have the tav.
Now we have the tav. So now make, or you are made as love.
You have the love with conditions at this point.
Right.
Because now you have exemplified and you are acting with people through the golden rule.
Absolutely.
Your frequency is of the golden rule.
You're vibrating to love right now.
Yep.
Right? And so Now, and it's interesting is because even the next word is in, and this is the Aleph Tav, but it's actually you're vibrating in and out of love. It's like you are on your inside and your outside. You are Aleph Tav. You are family strong love. Because of what you've done on the inside work, you are now expressing it as an outward work in everything you touch. Why? If you're resonating to love, then you are love, and everything you touch will be of love.
And everything that you make will be in love.
In the frequency of love.
Yep.
Everything.
Yep.
Again, love is...
So everything that you're doing on your external manifestation is that frequency.
Yeah, everything that you have gathered in your journey to render it clear through the good, the bad, and the indifferent, even in the hate and the abandonment, you have seen the good in it, you've rendered it clear, and you deposit that in your cup and compress it as the experience, and filled yourself up and going like, I now sit in center and say, everything is love, and I see it correctly.
Yeah.
You now touch in that frequency.
Yeah. And so you can even look at the Aleph Tav as you're making everything from the beginning to the end through love, the one
Right.
strong love.
Right.
Because Aleph is the first letter, Tav is the last letter.
Right.